What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 14 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Mallobaude Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we have acquired the Nemesis crown, adding another minus 60 diplomatic relations with all factions to our already minus 40, and additional upkeep production and just more debuffs. Again, is it useful? Not really, but again, I'm thinking that it's pretty fun to have it, so we're gonna keep it. I'm a little bit concerned, however, about the minus 10% casualty or punishment rate in army, and okay, it stays at minus 10% next level. I think there was something somewhere here in the text that would increase. Oh wait, we already got it. It was serve in life or death. Alright, well, we're gonna need to be careful about that. At least Mallobaude's peasants have a bonus, so we should be able to counteract at least some of it, but, you know, you gotta be careful. Also, while we're in the techs, we may as well pick a tech. Any tech at all, but not really. Armor for peasants, I did want to get Disgraced by Society for peasants because it's a decent power-up for them. There is also the faction-wide growth, which is nice. There is the bigger shovels, which is income from farms, though admittedly we've been using the snail farms more than the regular farms, mostly because they provide a little bit of attrition in their territory, and that can potentially have some uses. Resistance for zombies, raise dead cost, hero recruit rank for White Kings. Oh, right. You know what? Let's grab an Earth Cursed White Blades. I want the magical damage and dazed on all Graveguard units. They're not a unit that we're using a crazy amount yet, but they are also present in our defensive locations, and just generally speaking, maybe a unit that we'll want to have. Oh, actually, they're not present in our defenses, are they? Huh, go figure. Really, you'd think. You'd think there'd be a decent amount of Graveguard in the defenses. I see none here. It's mostly peasants. I see one Graveguard, eh? Well, there's some Graveguard in Lyonesse. Nonetheless, I've already picked it, so that's what we're going with. Anyway, let's start moving everybody along. Cedric, you have taken Phoenix Gate. I guess we can move briefly to grab this mysterious island. I don't know if it would be faster to just go through Toranlik here instead. Do we need to build anything at Toranlik? I guess if we could go down here, we could upgrade the Swamp Air Lodge to the next level. Yeah, why not? Let's go there briefly. We don't really care about Torkar and Shrine-Acurnus right now. We will eventually, but we don't right now. So let's do this. We'll build this for slightly cheaper, make a little bit more cash. Again, and eventually these guys will attack us, and I'm probably going to trade them the Fortress Gate here, or the Phoenix Gate rather, but we won't do so right now, mostly because Durthu will be angry about it, and that's not something we want to deal with currently. Next, I'm still, wait. This is the edge of his non-march stance range, so he shouldn't be able to reach Grunberg, meaning we should be able to attack them, right? Alright, so, you are currently at war with the Disciples of the Maw and with Wissenland and Nolan. You will be willing to give us 2.7k, which isn't too bad. What about the Disciples of the Maw? Going more against the Challengers of Khorne for 6.2k. Well, that's pretty solid. And they're, ogres are friendly with wood elves. Okay, fair enough. Alright, well, we'll take the 6.2k. Can't let these guys occupy too much territory in the Empire. We need it to be making cash. Next up, we'll have Jasper hit Karoberg here. And quickly auto-resolve, because it's a waste of our time, though I don't like how much damage we took, and why the heck did the Necromancer nearly get wrecked? Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with there, but oh well. And then we need to de-chaosify the place as quickly as we can as well. Once again, I'm going to say go for the snail place as well. Alrighty. And Charmed Shield, I think we could do a little bit better armor-wise for you, I think. Scintillating Shield I'm saving for a particular lord. You can... I mean, I guess you can have Black Periapt, a little bit of extra spell intensity, though admittedly your lore isn't the... I mean, it's basically only going to have minimal use for you, isn't it? Because mostly I use these guys to raise dead, and then occasionally Invocation of the Heck, and then very occasionally Wind of Death. But nonetheless, hold it for now. We might get a better... Well, actually, you know what? I changed my mind. Grab a Forbidden Rod, because you'll heal yourself anyway via invocations, and so you can get some usage out of that. You can grab a Potion of Healing. Fencer's Blades is not for you, but we can give you, let's say, the Sword of Strife for now, and then if needed, we'll change it up. Helm of Discord. I can have a Helm of Discord. Probably going to swap that out later, but for now we can keep it. Glittering Scales is going to our next White King as soon as we have capacity. The Charmed Shields we give to Necromancers. Shields of Talos are also given to Necromancers. And Power Stone, okay, I'd love to get rid of the Gold Sigil Sword and the Power Stone, but we don't have the ability to do so right now, so we can ignore the rest of that until we have more items to merge or fuse. Alright, who's next? Veronique. Alright, you're going to strike here at Weismund. And you are fairly damaged, and yeah. Oh, right, look at this. Chosen of Khorne cost these guys 73. They're cheaper than peasants are. Chaos Knights, 70. Gorby's Chariots of Khorne, 65. Bloody Wrathmongers cost them 19. They could get 5 units of Wrathmongers for a single unit of peasant, but even more than that. More than 6 units of Wrathmongers per unit of Peasant Poet. Oh, screw you, game. It's funny, but anyway. What do we want here? I guess we could grab the Etheric Cipher. Let's grab the Etheric Cipher. You do take... Well, we do use Vissen's Wild Form a lot, too. Yeah, screw it. Vissen's Wild Form first, then the other stuff second. You need to max out Replenish Troops, and then... You know what, you should level after the fight. Let's grab you Master of the Dead instead and then get another point in Raised Dead, because it's definitely going to be needed here. Next up, you, Bugach, are pretty good. You got most of your needed stuff, so let's keep going through full plate armor. And let's see what we can do. Alright, here we go. This should be interesting. The forces of Khorne are going to be a huge issue for us, especially since they have some Chosen and Wrathmongers in there. Frankly, I'm pretty sure a single unit of Wrathmongers could easily cut through all 5 of our units of Men-at-Arms with... like, no losses. So, yeah, we gotta be concerned here. Anyway, I'm gonna start the battle out by sending a few Pox arrows and a few Balefire arrows the enemy's way, as well as launching those projectiles from our artillery. Though, they are going to reposition and fire upon the cannon tower, which is a tier 4 tower, as a priority instead. Oh, Chosen of Khorne with dual weapons, 130 armor, 83, 75 melee attack and defense, and 3 times the weapon strength of the poor men-at-arms. I do fear that this army is going to need some adjustments. I usually keep armies in sort of this state in SFO because you can buff your units up considerably more, and while obviously your peasants will never be able to fight on par or anything close to Chosen or Wrathmongers or whatever, they can hold the line at least for a decent while against them before they all die. Whereas in vanilla, the AI has a tendency to spam those super elites a lot more, making me inclined to say that we need a few more elites. And by elites, I don't mean like anything crazy. I mean, Vargulfs are tier 3s, so maybe another Vargulf or something. Anyway, we'll see. We'll make the adjustments as needed. For now, first, we have to win the fight. Anyway, the enemy's gonna go for a Bloodletter summoning, and the Bloodletters actually managed to cut down a fair few of our Knights of the Realm. Keep in mind that Knights of the Realm are still tier 2 units. Again, I'm of the opinion that most armies should be made up of like 3/4 of tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 2 is where your sort of meat should be, your bread and butter of your armies. And the way that the AI has a tendency to stack super elites in crazy amounts is kind of mad to me, just because it isn't, realistic, and I demand realism from my Warhammer titles. But anyway, I digress. For now, we're gonna have to deal with what we're facing off against. Gorby's Chariots. I absolutely love this frickin' unit. Have to stop myself from spamming them when playing Khorne. Gotta love a chariot that can actually fight. As in, not simply function as a chariot with massive amounts of micro, but if it gets stuck, will actually mess you up. And that's Gorby's Chariots for you. Unfortunately, between Mr. Bougard there, as well as our Lord, we are able to see them off. Anyway, the bombardment continues. Unfortunately, in this particular battle, we have a lot of ammunition on our field trebuchets, and they're going to be the ones probably doing a fair bit of damage. 80 kills and 7-point-something K damage on you so far. Pretty darn good. Trying to target those Wrathmongers. We certainly don't want them closing the distance with our men-at-arms, as they will absolutely tear them to shreds. Honestly, infantry-wise, we don't really have anything that can face off against Wrathmongers. Maybe a fully maxed out couple of units of Graveguard with great weapons, and I do mean couple. I mean, one could, in theory, deal with them if, you know, if we constantly support it with, you know, Mortis Engine and an Unholy Lodestone, though at the same time, we can't do the same with our living units, our men-at-arms, so... Oh, also, if we want to keep a decent amount of men-at-arms in this particular army, what we will need is a Icon of Devotion, and thus we are going to need to get a White King in here. I'm trying to get that White King capacity up to a decent amount for a while now, but it's been, you know, causing us some trouble. Anyway, looks like the enemy closes in with the Cultist of Khorne with a massive amount of HP on that War Shrine. We try to ride through the Wrathmongers with Veronique here, and do a little bit of damage and distract them at the same time while we head towards those Forsaken. But obviously we don't want Veronique to engage them, as she's on that Blood Karas, and while it's a nice mount, it's not going to survive if it gets surrounded. Alright, a nice little charge through those Bloodletters, and then gonna try to back out before we get surrounded by the Chosen of Khorne with dual weapons, while we send a few more arrows and trebuchet projectiles into their backs. We also summon a unit of zombies to get in their way so that they don't close the distance with the men-at-arms, as obviously the men-at-arms ain't fighting them. At least not without getting torn apart. There we go. Well, the Chosen of Khorne with dual weapons can enjoy killing those zombies while trebuchets continue to fire upon them. Alrighty, and ooh, the Blood Cross does get trapped briefly by, I don't know if it was the Bloodletters or was the Forsaken, and does take a little bit of damage, so we're going to back up. Looks like a unit of Chaos Knights has arrived as well, but on the bright side, we've nearly destroyed the Wrathmongers by combining both Vargulfs and having them attack them. Though admittedly, these guys have been fighting non-stop for a while, and even with both Vargulfs attacking them, they're still outputting a lot of damage. And absorbing a lot of damage as well. Good for them. Anyway, the Chaos Knights have arrived as well, but more zombie summons means we can continue to hold off the tide, at least for now, and just keep raising those dead in the way of the enemy, and then keep bombarding the enemy elite with arrow fire and with trebuchet projectiles. Alright, looking like it's working so far, but eventually we will run out of ammunition. In fact, the peasant bowmen have started to run out altogether. Hey, it looks like the cultist is back, and that's interesting, he's gonna go after the necromancer. But I suppose if, well, the cultist will be able to fight a necromancer. It is a cultist of Khorne after all. It may be on a war shrine, but 66 is pretty darn solid still. And obviously the poor necromancer's on a corpse guard and is not going to have a chance here. I wonder why they never added the Mortis Engine as a possible mount option for necromancers. Maybe it would make them too valuable. Necromancers, I mean. They're already so valuable on the Unholy Lodestone. And, you know, on the rare occasions that you need it on the Balefire as well. Sometimes you need to use it to counter some enemies like we did when Throg attacked us. Magical fire attacks on everybody is pretty darn solid. Anyway, looks like the bounce power is still very much in the enemy's favor, but that's hardly surprising, and we are still taking a fair bit of damage. The enemy's got a fair few troops remaining as well, and ooh, a Bloodthirster has flown over the, well, whatevers, and has closed the distance. And Mr. Bugard will move in together with his own personal coterie of knights. And we're going to use the Vargulfs to come in and help out. It looks like the Bloodthirster was attempting to take out those units of trebuchets. Smart move, I gotta say, as they're the things that are doing the most damage by far of our army to theirs. And it looks like we do manage to knock the Bloodthirster out, but at massive cost. Bugard himself has lost like 80% of his HP, and his knights are pretty badly beat up as well. All good though. Our Vargulfs are still very much in the fight and regenerating. A unit of Chosen Khorne with dual weapons is now out of the picture, and I wager these knights aren't going to be in here for too long either, as the living Knights of the Realm start hitting them with their anti-large lances. And there we go, the Chaos Knights are out. Balance of power is still in the enemy's favor. Oh, wow. Saw one of those Chosen just fly through the cliffside there. Too bad we don't have that, like, I don't know, like impact into the cliffside sort of thing. And ooh, looks like the enemy's got another tower up and running now. A cannon tower, but a tier 1. At least not that tier 4 in the same kind. And, ooh, that's not good. That's very dangerous, Veronique. Get the heck out of there. A unit of Chaos Warriors of Khorne with halberds have arrived. Man, every time I see a unit of Chaos Warriors of Khorne with halberds, it makes me remember Kuchar the Blood Hunter and his penchant for using those guys with his fast-moving army. There we go, a couple of very nice hits with the trebuchets, dealing massive damage to those Chaos Warriors of Khorne, who lose about half of their HP. Beautiful. Yeah, I might get a few more trebuchets in this army. I was wanting to put peasants with, peasant bowmen with balefire into an army with ghostly units after all, so it isn't necessarily necessary to have them in this one. Alright, how are the Vargulfs doing? They're pretty critical to this defense because the Dark Prophetess has reached her healing cap at about 35%, and we probably can't send her into combat anymore. Bugard does heal a little bit, I believe, with Blood of Meravec when he's in melee, but he's so heavily damaged that he'll get destroyed if we're not careful. Ooh. A very close fight. We're out of ammunition on all of our bowmen now, and frankly, our artillery are nearly out of ammunition as well. We just gotta make sure we do the best that we can to knock out the rest of these Chaos Warriors and whatnot. There we go. And keep absorbing damage on those Vargulfs. I believe we're also out of zombie summoning as well. Either that or we have one left at this point. At least the Vargulf has not yet reached its healing cap, although it's going to take damage against the Khornate halberds here. Okay, projectiles, please stop missing. This is not the time. We don't have enough for you to be missing right now. And a new full HP unit of Chaos Knights has arrived. Alright, time to hit them with a few of those balefire projectiles. Very nice, about 20% of the HP damage. Hit them with a few more before we run out of ammo. Second Vargulf moves in as well. And the enemy lord, the enemy actual lord, not the cultist but the blood speaker, has finally come out to play. So very nice hit from that trebuchet though, right into the thick of the enemy formation. The enemy lord has also brought with him another unit of Chaos Warriors of Khorne. Alright, and this is the enemy's last hurrah, but frankly it is ours as well. Most of our men-at-arms are down to about 10% of their HP and can no longer fight. One of our knights is down to 10% of its HP and can no longer fight. Everybody's reaching their healing cap. Our ammunition is gone. And it's the Vargulfs plus the tiny amounts of HP that we have on everybody else. If the Vargulfs run out of HP, obviously the remaining peasants are not going to be able to carry the day for us. Well, let's see if we can do it. We do still have the peasant launchers, however, who are still hovering at around 50% of their HP after all the fighting that they've been doing. I'm gonna make sure that they chase down the Chaos Knights of Khorne as best they can before moving back here. Got to try to kill off that enemy lord as well, lest the blood speaker activate his murderous exhortations, was it? It is murderous exhortation. Okay, I'm actually kind of impressed with myself for remembering the name of that ability, but anyway. We don't want him casting it again, and oh, he does have more Gates of Khorne, and we really don't need another set of bloodletters on the battlefield, as so many of our units can no longer fight. Oh man. Alright, last set of projectiles from that last trebuchet, which still had ammunition, with some fairly nice hits there. Raven's warriors flee. Yeah. was bound to happen. Alright, come on, get a few more warriors knocked out. I'm gonna hit them with a Flock of Doom. We no longer have the ability to summon zombies, so we gotta hit these guys with everything we can. And dish out a little bit of extra damage. They're down to half of their HP, though. Ooh, Veronica's down to 10% of hers, but she just has to fight. The peasant launchers are down to half of their HP as well, but everybody has to be in the center of the fight here. We've no choice but for everybody to do everything they can. And, is this a desync? Veronique doesn't die in this battle. 177? Oh no, I think we've got a bit of a desync here. Oh, I've never seen the death animation of this hero before, though. With the blood cross. Oh, it turns into a black coach as it explodes. I mean, it does make use of that model, so that makes sense. Anyway, obviously this is a desync, but everything up to now is going as it's supposed to be going. I assume the Blood Speaker has a trait, maybe Executor or something else, that's causing a... Wow, he has a chainsword? Good for him. Something he has is probably causing the desync, because everything up to now is going fine. And the desync starts here. That's alright, though. Suffice it to say that the battle was won right here. The enemy never made it past the choke points, and obviously Veronique and none of the knights died. Slight spoiler. We did manage to kill off the enemy lord using the two Vargulfs and Bugar, and well, not really the Necromancer. He's in there for support. It happens. We can avoid having desyncs from our own units or our own armies by not, equipping things with Executor, or not equipping, not building the tower buildings and all that, but we can't do the same thing for the AI. If they take an item that gives them Executor, then a desync happens. It is what it is. But all good. Well, just to watch the last of the few animations here. Well, Fleshhounds are blocking the Vargulf from attacking. Come on, man. Oh, and I fear that the Vargulf won't have the order to kill the enemy Blood Speaker anymore, because at this point the Blood Speaker has long died in the real battle. Come on, bring him down. Oh, no. Oh, getting sent flying by the Blood Speaker. And Craven's warriors flee. Oh, look at the little piles of knights. Ooh, nice charge from those chariots, though. Very nice. Can't let go of the chance to watch the Gore Beasts work, of course. And there we go. Challengers of Khorne, Pyrrhic Victory, of course, this is very much a lie. Like I said, as soon as the enemy lord arrived, it seems to have gone into desync, so suffice it to say that we killed him, and with him, the rest of his army broke, and there was no problem. 90% of the battle went as it should, so I'm reasonably happy to leave this as it is, rather than replay it. Ooh, alrighty, there we go. Definitely a tough fight for this army. I think going into the late game, we're going to need to adjust this one a little bit. Facing off against Chosen with, piles of garbage peasants is kind of not the most effective, I will admit. Fantastic job to the field trebuchets, however. 22, 26, and 24k damage, depending on the individual unit, and definitely happy with their performance. I'm inclined to add another one and replace maybe one of the peasant men with them. Because they do a fair bit more damage, although admittedly this was where they could take advantage of the bombardment, and if it was just a direct field battle, the bowmen probably would have done a bit better. I'm inclined to maybe get a couple more Vargulfs in this army. Again, I feel like it would work, and well, maybe one more. 4 might feel a little bit too much, though. They don't have regeneration in vanilla as they do in SFO. They have the hunger, so they have to be in melee to regenerate. I didn't put a Mortis engine in this army because we don't have enough undead to get any benefit from it. A couple Pegasus Knights maybe, because we don't want to go overboard on the basic living knights here. Something along those lines. Well, I'll think about it. Either way, we're going to occupy the place and take it at tier 2, and of course we don't get to keep the defensive structure, which was the one thing I wanted to keep here. Oh well. We can, I guess, start building the guardhouse immediately. Enemy killed in battle. Hey, we got the free Trickster's Helm, though. That's nice. Corpse Guard with Balefire for Alain. And... well, I guess we're pushing all the way up to Middenheim, although this army will need to heal before it goes up there. And actually, speaking of, let's get replenished troops maxed out. We probably could have used Wind of Death and even Curse of Years in that particular battle. And I think we'll... and then there's also Van Hels. You know what, let's get 2 points in Wind of Death so that we can overcast it. Otherwise, you, sir, you're pretty much done in terms of getting your, well, capabilities. You just need items. Let's go through Engines of War, Aura of Majesty, and we'll get another Field Treb if we can. Well, we're gonna have to ferry it over. While we can raise dead, and there is potential for said... We could actually raise a Mortis engine here if we wanted to. Minus the fact that it won't help the living units. I'm just taking a look at what other options we have here. We could get a single Graveguard unit, but... I mean... maybe. Just something to act as the tip of the spear. Maybe a sword and board Graveguard up here. If we merge these 2 men-at-arms, we could replace them with 1 Graveguard. We still do get the benefit from the Damned Host, after all. And that way we don't have to go too heavy on the regular peasants. Something like that. Yes. And the Graveguard Great Weapons, Graveguard Great Weapons, and yeah, this is the Sword and Board variant. Not this one. That's the old version. Just taking a look at what else we have. That would fit in this. I mean, oh, there's that other Vargulf I was talking about. Yes. I like the idea of having a Vargulf being able to travel with every single one of the units of knights here. Alright, so we'll do that then. You and you, the weakest, can merge. Then we will pop in a... you're intelligent, yes. Well, I don't know, well, we only need 1 Necromancer in this particular army. Other Necromancers need 2, but not you. We'll get 1 Graveguard to act as the center point of these guys. Eventually, I mean, right now its stats are weaker, but once it gets some veterancy, it'll go up there. Yeah, and I guess get rid of one of the archers. I hesitate to get rid of a high rank one, but we can have more Balefire Trebs and less basic archers. So I'm going to get rid of you and replace you with another Vargulf. Like so. Slightly expensive, admittedly, but if we're fighting Chosen and such, we need capabilities. I mean, Vargulfs are only tier 3, and let's see, the Knights of the Realm are all tier 2, and the Peasants are all tier 2 and 1, and even the Graveguard are tier 2, so yeah. Gotta be careful about fighting tier 3s and 4s, Chosen and Wrathmongers, with the garbage. Anyway, looks good otherwise. Grave Robber, why don't you rob some Grave? Okay, not actually, no, you're gonna wait, because you'll fail. Building. Kuhan, I did want to upgrade the Binding Circle here, and then I guess we can hold off on all of this. In theory, the coaching in might be nice to get. I did say I wanted a couple of living Pegasus Knights in that army later on. I mean, I guess we could start building it. It's a little bit more expensive than I'd like, but you know, so is everything, so yeah. And start on the Vampire Crypts as well, expensive though they may be. Keep the Lichard for now, though not forever. You can then move down southward towards Bordelot, where in next turn we will be upgrading the Manan's Dry Docks, and thusly I think we're good to not spend anything else, because we'll need the money for them. Unless there's something critical. Well, we could upgrade the, well, if it gets attacked by the Demon Prince, that won't help, so we will ignore that for now. Although, maybe we upgrade them. Again, as soon as the war happens with these guys, it won't work quite as well. You know what, let's hold off on it. For the 1 turn, we are... oh, you know what we can do? We can upgrade Altdorf. That's what we can do. Oh, that has tremendous value. Alrighty. And now we can end the turn after checking on more of these guys. What do we have here? No new Necromancers, though, or no more Necromancer capacity. Wait, did I not build another Lich Yard out here somewhere? Level 2, there should be somewhere a new Lich Yard being constructed now. Snail hunting grounds. Am I crazy? Where I built one. Unless it already got... oh, it's here in Ziflin. Yeah, alright, so that's gonna take a little bit. Fair enough. And we do also want to upgrade our now, admittedly, because it needs to get the defenses up and running, so I guess we'll do that as well. Yeah, just do it. Alright, let's just hope that they don't get immediately attacked. Alright, let's see what else we've got. There's those... the Demon Prince guys. They're landing at the Citadel of Lead, and that probably tells me that the other ones are going to land as well, as in the other full stack that we saw. Although the question is where exactly it'll land. We'll definitely need more armies, and in order to make use of them, we'll need more cash flow. Alright, so the northern provinces have been... oh, wow, Cathay was doing good. What happened here? Good lord, Dolgan are trouncing them. Huh, go figure. Alright, well, good job to the Dolgan. Not unimpressed, let's say. And ooh, Carcassonne, they're actually not doing so bad. These guys haven't declared war on us yet, which is good for us. Anyway, nothing else to be built at Toran. Like, we could upgrade the tall walls, but I think this place should be able to hold by itself against a single stack at least just fine. Meaning you're going to go out to that mysterious island fast as you can. Aucassin, you're gonna go out to Bordelot and start upgrading whatever you can there. Gotta make that money. Alright, go for Manan's Dry Docks, and then might as well upgrade the auction house. Though funnily enough, without allies, the auction houses will have a lot less value to us. We will want the vampire crypts here, but, well, we can't afford them right now. Now, how do we want to move otherwise? Mallobaude, you can reach Flensburg, I hope? You can indeed. Alright, so let's head to Flensburg. That will leave potentially Kemperbad open for an attack by the rats, but we don't have enough armies to cover every little bit of territory. I wonder how much these guys would pay if we gave them none. And ooh, this puts us into... ooh, yeah, look at that. Man, this should be fun as well. Alright, we'll hold off there. I'm gonna try not to forget. We got another full stack coming in here, and a pretty solid one at that. Alright, well, we'll move there. At least the... I was about to say, at least the corruption is going decently well, but it isn't, because... wow, 11. Okay, well, we're gonna need to deal with all that corruption, and this corruption. I need to decorruptify and recorruptify faster, that's what we need to do. Anyway, Jasper... I think what we'll do is this. Veronique, you're gonna travel through Altdorf here, towards Kemperbad. You won't suffer attrition by the looks of it. That will allow Jasper to move to Middenheim,
I expect a proper welcome,
as he has the stronger army. A near complete one at that. I don't know what these guys are doing, but it does have me somewhat concerned, and so does this, but I don't imagine that they can win at the Citadel of Lead, at least not by themselves, depending on where their other army is. And that's why Cedric is going to move up there, because somebody needs to. Grave Robber, it's time for more Grave Robbing again. And a 1, and you succeed, good for you, buddy, and then the other one you can steal from Middenheim. 73%. Don't you fail. Oh, come on, man. That costs us 400 gold. You useless. Okay, you know what? Maybe we want to grab Puppet Master for the hero action cost reduction. And leadership for Lords and Embedded Heroes isn't the worst thing in the world either. But anyway, let's finish with whatever tech we're researching right now, and then we'll deal with that after. Alrighty, and then Jasper. The other oh, you're a new Jasper. You go up here, you're supposed to oh, Jasper's gonna join Jasper. Good. At least that's easy to keep track of. Alrighty, and you have 2 points. I guess we go through Dread Knights in order to grab Aura of Majesty. That helps out. Alright. I believe that's an end turn, because we have no money and no... whoa. Come on, Ruinous. You just said don't forget about this, and you immediately forget about this. Alright, they got 2 summons from beyond, but otherwise I think we'll be fine. Go.
Rip their souls out.
Alrighty, rip their souls out indeed, and here we go. The red Cornate Corrupted Skies actually match our Black Grail Knights and our Mallobaude, I guess, as well. Anyway, here we go. Speaking of the Black Grail Knights, we're going to charge right through those halberds who will stop us in their tracks a little bit, well, it probably won't matter all that much. We'll simply turn on them and start tearing them to shreds as the Chaos Warriors of Khorne and T-Large Renaud rapidly lose about half of their HP. Granted, more of the enemy are moving on in, but I'm sure that our Black Grail Knights can hold just fine. In the meantime, we're going to move directly towards the enemy Blood Speaker with Mallobaude himself. In desperation, perhaps the Blood Speaker activates his murderous exhortations, but that'll be completely useless against Mallobaude. And frankly, so is running away. 1.4k weapon strength pre any buffs. Pretty darn solid. Alrighty, and I expect that Blood Speaker will be dead in rather short order. The enemy does summon Bloodletters upon us, but this time we are ready for it. We are keeping about, well, all of our peasantry sort of sitting together, with the regular men-at-arms helping to protect the brigands, though admittedly, the brigands are pretty solidly statted up at this point, so they are, they're capable of fighting in melee pretty darn well. I mean, they always were. It's a hybrid unit, but, you know. Yeah, no. Anyway, enemies, a couple units that charged us are destroyed, and there's a unit of Chosen milling around there, but they're not having a particularly good time as they've lost about half of their HP to range fire, while we continue fighting over on the other side with the knightly units. We've effectively just separated the knights and the peasants. And these guys are kind of locked in combat and kind of blocking each other off. All good though. In the meantime, Mallobaude has killed off the enemy Blood Speaker and is now going after whatever units he can find here. Not any particular targets. Oh, I get such a kick out of that whenever that happens. They're just rushing through the line like that and sending everybody flying. It's fantastic. Alrighty, and Mallobaude is not going to bother finishing up all of these units, because we can just have the peasant units deal with that while we move to sort of break the deadlock here. I think that's perhaps a better use of Mallobaude's time right now. And there is a rather nice combination of things he can do. Other than casting spells, he can also make everybody invulnerable, thanks to his unyielding will ability. So even if we get, poor bounces off the Wind of Death or Penumbral Pendulum or whatever, or even the Crown, it won't matter because our units won't take any damage due to that invulnerability. Isn't it lovely? Anyway, we use the spell work to clear the way through the enemies. Of course, I'm sure the Wrathmongers will stay around, but a lot of the other units are going to be in pretty bad shape. Otherwise, the peasants are being charged as well, and ooh, does look like a unit of Bloodletters does manage to close the distance with the Cantankerous Bellends, who admittedly have much cooler looking swords than the Bloodletters do. And there we go, we're just going to back up a tiny bit while the last of them sort of melt away. I'm also once again quite happy with the appearance of the White Kings in this particular faction. I just really wish it wasn't so dang difficult to get capacity for them, or I'd have more of them, and just because of them looking pretty nice. White Kings, even in vampire counts, regular vampire counts, are kind of meh units in general. Highly defensive, but otherwise not crazy valuable, but here at least we got them on Fell Steeds as a possibility, so we got a little bit more leeway as to what we can do with them. And plus they have a bunch of abilities, including that Siege Breaker, or whatever the heck that one was called, that allows them to break through walls. Anyway, Immense Power shifts about 90% in our favor, obviously now that Mallobaude has moved on in the Black Grail Knights, under the watchful gaze of their master, are absolutely tearing the Khornates to shreds, whether it be those poor blood beasts of Khorne, which are shattered and terrified, or the Chaos Knights themselves. All will fall beneath the blades of the Black Grail. Anyway, with that, the last of the units will shatter, and this Khornate army is destroyed. Very, very nice. It worked pretty well, and no significant damage, I'd wager, to most units. I think the cantankerous Bellons took the most damage, and a lot of that, I'd wager, was from friendly fire. Alright, there we have it, no problemo, and we didn't even need to use the Nemesis Crown ability either. A solid chunk of change for our trouble, and a nice potion of healing as well, very nice. The Black Grail Knights, it's the algorithmic duty in the lead. With the Peasants, it's by a little bit the Black Grail Fanatics, and, okay, admittedly the I'm being replaced peasants are revolting, and the other men-at-arms and didn't need to do much because they were mostly guarding the range units, which had the enemy, summoned upon them. Anyway, we're gonna build the guardhouse real quick and then move on to Wordbad, Needling, etc. And we'll see how long we can maintain sort of fighting these guys without getting into a direct conflict with the Disciples of the Maw there, who have admittedly moved fairly far. Oh, Clan Angren's in the moot. Oh, I wonder if we can get any... We have, like, no landmarks as Mousillon. It's unfortunate. But what can you do? That's why we had to steal Kemmler's, because that way we at least had one landmark somewhere. Oh, actually, speaking of, Lichard, yes. Alrighty. And now I believe that's an end turn. So skip, and the turn. We'll see where the rest of the enemies go after this. And you're going... Why? Okay, well, we're auto-resolving that. That's a waste of time. Too small a battle. We will take the money, though. Not entirely sure why they decided to attack us here. Maybe being impatient? It'd be nice if we could peace out with them, though, just because we don't want to necessarily deal with them. Alright, the rats are approaching here. And Talzin, they've ended our non-aggression pact. Okay, well, that was always inevitably going to happen. In fact, we should be... whatever the opposite of looking forward is, to all of the Trickster's Cult discovered. Oh lord, we still have to deal with these jerk faces. And it's 3,000 gold to burn it down. What can you do? Any regional power? The Drowned. Oh, they're good. They're doing good as well. Trickster Cult discovered. Oh, destroyed. Yeah, that's fine. And hey, Throt's back. Isn't that cute? It's actually a pretty solid army. I wonder if we could ambush him instead of going to Wordbad. But then these guys will probably take Wordbad from us. You cannot reach either one. We could have you defend Kemperbad, though. I mean, it depends on if they have another army out there, which I'm a little bit concerned about. You know what? Let's try this. Huh? Oh, there's nothing in Wordbad. It's a tier 0. Well, then we had another lord that could grab this for you. That would allow us to hit Throt. Alright, I think we're just gonna have to risk it. Grab Wordbad. We'll see how Throt reacts to this. He can hit Kemperbad after. Occupy the place. Like so, though I assume that doesn't count as a battle for the purpose of the Nemesis Crown. And then you're going to head into Kemperbad and possibly defend against these two armies, which I'm sure is going to be a toughie with the presence of a level 38 Throt. Thusly, we're going to need to get some stuff. You know what, let's double check what we... You know what, you keep getting damage. You're going to take one of the potions of healing. You don't need Fencer's Blades, again, we're saving that one. Don't need the Giant's Blade, Rod of Flaming Death you can't use. Basic armor. I guess we could go for the Glittering Scales on you, though admittedly I was going to put a White King in this army to help the peasants because they need an Icon of Devotion, but, you know, we need actual capacity for that. And we have, like, no talismans. We've actually been pretty light on items throughout the course of this campaign. Not much we can do about it. Fuse the Channeling Staffs into another Book of Assure, which at least will come in handy. You could get... What do you have? You have Intelligent with the spell intensity. Okay, you're better off using a Black Periapt instead. And I believe Cedric is kind of in the same position. Oh, actually, speaking of Cedric, before I forget, let's grab this. Oh, it's a Mysterious Island. Grab it. Like so, Fortified Grog. You got the Curse of Cannibalism, and then let's head up this way. We can grab a few islands and then see what the Demon Prince is doing. Again, he had a full stack out here somewhere. I don't know where it went, though. Shrieking Blade for Cedric. No, I'm going to say that's going to go on somebody else. Because we don't care whether you're attacking, like, it gives us no benefit, essentially, so we'll ignore you. Alrighty. Veronique, okay, so we do need to keep leveling you and your army. You have Engines of War, you have... Well, we could level the Varg, we have a red line. I wish we could take ward save for the Vargulfs or a little bit of extra capability for the... let's get the Peasants' Duty. They need more help than the Vargulfs do, let's face it. The Vargulfs are already quite strong. You can grab Devastating Charge. Let's see how devastating it is presumably next turn. Jasper, you cannot reach Middenheim, or you can not reach Middenstag, so we will have you move to Middenheim.
Yes.
And not auto-resolve capable, huh? Alright, we will attempt to besiege it. We do have siege attackers, so we could attack it directly, but we can't do it as a cinematic because of the wall thing, so we're just going to ignore it as it is. And I'd love to wait in order to grab Middenheim at tier 3 rather than tier 2. The problem is we don't really have time to wait, which kind of makes me tempted to attack it, but it's not kind of... It's going to be a kind of a terrible battle, because we just walk through the gate and tear everybody to shreds with the More Descendants. Maybe I'll do this one between the episodes. I'll think about it. It depends on how that goes. Anyway, Veronique, you're good where you are. Grave Robber, go... Wait, this turn? No, you're good. What about the other guy? Oh, the other guy we just moved. Jasper, you are supposed to head up here. And we can keep on checking Necro capacity, which we have none. What about White Kings? Do we have any White King available? Not yet, but hopefully soon. Although, oh, we do have Strategist, which is a decent one. I want a Tactician, but this isn't a bad one to have, especially for our next army, which is going to be a Brigand Mourngul army. Brigand and Mourngul and ghouls, just basically Vanguard deployment stuff, so yeah, this will come in handy. Still not seeing too many uses for Banshees and Damsels. I mean, none of the current armies we have would need an extra lure. We already have, you know, we're already casting what we need to be casting, so kind of mad there. Anyway, Bordelot, we are here. Can we upgrade anything that's of critical value to us? I guess we can get the Vampire Crypts. Though again, they're very expensive for what they give. I probably should have gone for the Carpenter's Workshops. You know what, let's go for the Defiled Cairn. We're going to need to get more capacities for the... yeah, you're gonna have to Blackstone post very briefly. We're gonna need to get more capacities for our White Kings. And otherwise, I think we can hold off on spending any more money unless there's some upgrades to make it Altdorf. Yeah, let's, well, we gotta get these guys up and running fast as we can. And we gotta get you to Altdorf, as it's going to be a big money-making province, which will enable us to get a few more armies up and running. Who are you fighting? Deceivers, Pirates of Sartosa, and Challengers of Khorne. And you're allied with the Dwarfs. Okay, that's kind of interesting. And, Imric's doing good. Man, you know what, the concerning thing is that pretty much all of these factions, they're all everybody else is friendly with each other, but they all hate us. Oh, it's a concern. But that's the way we've decided to play this campaign. It has been pretty fun so far, you have to admit. How's Durthu about us? -11, not so terrible. What about quick deals? No peace agreement. Moldor's nearly ready for peace, which we might take advantage of because most likely the Norskins under Wintertooth will attack us again as soon as they can. And we may need to sort of grab Nordland and other territories up there. But anyway, okay, you besiege for now. Maybe an enemy will show... Okay, no, raise, get the Curse of Undeath. Maybe an enemy will show up. Damage building upgrade available end the turn. I assume Throt the Unclean and Fade Rife will attack us, and there he is. Okay, so the other little army either ran away or something, but I take it Karn is going to land at the Citadel of Lead, so I guess it was indeed the right decision to start moving Mr. Cedric up here. Assuming, of course, the Vampire Coast doesn't take advantage of the fact that we're away from Ulthuan and start taking the territories up there. Not that they're worth all that much to us. Another Trickster cult. Oh, good lord, I'm so sick of these. Burn it down. Daughters of the Forest destroyed. Oh my. Okay, well, hopefully the... Don't these guys even like each other? They're not even supposed to like each other. Beastmen have appeared. Although I don't know where. Not near our main army. Go figure. Alright, and these guys did not, in fact, sally out. Alright, fair enough. And it actually takes 2 turns to build a Vampire Count's battering ram? Come on, game, come on.
For the lady.
The only reason I'm taking the time there is because it wouldn't be cinematically possible. Anyway, I noticed that Throt the Unclean is not here, but he is here. He's probably in ambush, isn't he? Alright, let's do this. You're gonna go for Fade Rife. Let's see if we run into Throt. Oh, actually he moved this way. Never mind then. Go here. Can Veronique now chase him down? Yes. She can. Are you able to go into March Stance and follow? Indeed you are. Alright, we'll auto-resolve this and we'll chase down Throt. And grab Krugenheim as well. And we also need Needling. Castle Temple. Oh, wow. Sylvania has fallen. Man, KHORNE is doing great. Good job. Good job, KHORNE. Anyway, Veronique, kill. We'll get you another one of these field trebs later. And auto-resolve, I assume, will work here. Pew pew. Alright, a little bit of damage on I'm being repressed, but, you know, I'm sure they're used to it. Alrighty, and then you... Huh. Keep moving this way. Yeah, Staff of Damnation, actually a very nice pickup. In fact, wait, which army would we want you to... Okay, you follow along. This could be a decent choice for Staff of Damnation. Actually, this is also a very decent choice for Staff of Damnation. I'm also inclined to say that we don't need the Corpse Guard with Unholy Lodestone in this particular army, so you can go in the Nightmare. And, oh, you're actually going to go into a different army, aren't you? Because of the Cunning trait. You're going to go with Ustash. Yeah. Meaning the Staff of Damnation would be better served in another army. Maybe not this one, though. Actually, speaking of, Cedric, go right here. I assume Karn is looking to land at the Citadel of Lead, and we'll need to raise... I wonder if he can attack it immediately. It'd be unfortunate if he could. He could raise some dead there, I guess, but... I guess we're gonna have to. I don't want to pay for it, but what can you do, right? Oh well. Anyway, we'll deal with that in a second. And Jasper, you can... I'm gonna leave you alone. And Grave Robber, you can steel attack now. Good. And, okay, everybody's stopped getting the Corpse Guard. How have they not implemented a lock mount option? And then you cannot steel attack this turn, and oh, you actually can. I lied. There you go. You needed to, admittedly. Alrighty, and then you can go through wound in case somebody comes after you, I guess, sir. Alright. The other Jasper. Go join the first Jasper. I don't know, maybe by the time we get attacked, assuming you don't get instantly assassinated by Valder, and we can deal with it. Alright, next up, Sam. Oh, if we raise dead, we need to waste our money on it, unfortunately. Alright, fine, fair enough. We could get Killian back up and running here. Unfortunately, I had a very specific army sort of earmarked for him, but if he can get the defeat trait from Karn as well, that would be nice. Alright, you can get here. What can we raise? Grab a Cairn Wraith and a giant pile of... Wait, do you still have your... No, you do not have your... Get yourself a nice... grab the Treasurer. Don't care about the Warlock. I want you to get Mortal Informer and Gravedigger. That was the main thing. Grab a Dreg as well. Might as well have a Corpse Thief. There's other stuff that we'll put into this army, but it's not critical right now. Any spare items? Scintillating Shield is once again earmarked for a specific lord, so we're not doing that with you. You can have the Book of Assure. Trickster's Helm, I feel like maybe is better on the... on one of the Dark Prophetesses. It feels to me. What else do we have as options here? I mean, you can temporarily have the Fencer's Blades, we'll transfer them to another later on. Rods of Flaming Death are going to a fire-centric... Well, you'll see. Anyway, Charmed Shield is going to Necros. You know what? Take out the Shrieking Blade and... Oh, you guys don't have magical damage. Yeah, but I probably wouldn't put a Shrieking Blade on you anyway. Yeah, we'll keep that. And the Shield of Talus isn't super useful to you right now. Potion of Strength, I guess, and just grab Spell Shield for a little bit of extra melee defense. Alrighty, then, I'd like you to get the Hunger Inspiring Presence, obviously Curse of Undeath, and... Raise Dead. Lance of Bretonnia you will eventually need once you have Hex Wraiths, but not right now. And... you can grab the Damned Host. Alright. Then you can get the single Cairn Wraith and a bunch of zombies. Alright, well it's going to be costly, but it'll be significant help in terms of defending. And then we will have to ferry you more more ghosts and some balefire units as well. Anyway, Aucassin, you were going to go to Blackstone Post Y. Now, was it just to build up the pigment grinder shop? I don't know that we care that much about it right now. Let's instead go through this. Marienburg will... Oh, you know what? Go briefly to Marienburg and thus upgrade the city watch at Arnau. And I guess a Lich Yard as well. We need more Necromancers. You then can proceed here. Lovely. We'll upgrade the Port at Altdorf. The Murky Harbor. Hey, we're +2. Beautiful. And we will need the public order here. I'm almost tempted to go for a witch house as well, but I think we can hold off for now. Keep building the corrupted villages. And we're out of money, but yeah, this is the time to develop the heck out of Altdorf. Yeah, so or just out of Reichland in general. Gotta make that money. Anyway, I believe we're good to go, right? Nobody else is attacking, nobody is besieging. Except you, but we can wait on that. And yes, we're good to go. Alright, so skip, and turn. Let's see what Mr. Karn does. And he will indeed land. He'll land in March stance. I wonder if he's close enough to our settlement for us to sally out and attack him while he's in March stance. Admittedly, we thus wouldn't be able to take advantage of our towers and stuff. That is certainly tempting. Although I do fear we won't have time to do it this particular episode. And what do we have here? Recruitment surplus or war fervor? We're not really recruiting in the next near future. And Mallobaude, what was the target of successful hero actions? Assault unit success. Well, that's tremendously rude.
This better be important.
A level 23. Well, I mean, fair enough that a level 23 succeeded, I suppose. Mallobaude, I assume Throt wouldn't fight you directly. He'd run towards Talabaim, right? Wow, oh, whoa, no. Okay, you know what? Yeah, they're gonna fight. I wanted to move Veronique in, but, well, I said we don't have the time, but apparently we do. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Throt the Unclean is at it once again, and once again we're going to have to put him in his place. As usual, we're going to rush towards the enemy with our fast movers, our heroes and our Black Grail Knights, though two of our heroes will get stopped in their tracks by the Mutant Rat Ogres. That does, however, mean the Mutant Rat Ogres are not stopping our Black Grail Knights, who will charge directly into whatever that unit was that is now pretty much destroyed, while Mallobaude once again goes towards Mr. Throt the Unclean, who rapidly loses half of his HP, activates Creature Killer for that extra little bit of anti-large, but I doubt that that's going to make too much of a difference. In the meantime, the enemy's back line is suffering as we Vanguard deployed the Brigands behind the enemies. And we'll have them pincushion them and help in destroying the enemy Rattling Guns and Plague Claw Catapults, which also just took a nice vortex from the Sword of Cain. And there we go. Molder will activate its Clan Stone on top of some of the Black Grail Knights, while Throt appears to... Oh, that's a Packmaster. While Throt is also running away. And we might give chase to him, but we may also just switch to another unit. Alright, here we've got our White King moving towards the Packmasters, and on the Brood Corps or not, the Packmasters are still relatively fragile units, as I recall, in vanilla and in SFO, admittedly. And that one's not gonna stick around in combat for too long. There is another Warlord for Mr. Mallobaude to fight in the midst of all this combat as well, but I'd wager he's not going to stick around very long. Especially compared to Throt. And ooh, Throt's come back and has gone after our Necromancer, who quickly drops in about 40% of his HP, and the Rat Ogres are moving in to back Throt up. We're going to intercept him with our White King and sort of pin him in place until Mallobaude is ready to come in and finish him off. Storm Vermin with Halberds have arrived, and they're applying their anti-large to our Black Grail Knights. The Black Adders losing about 40% of their HP, and down to almost half of their number. Of course, this judicious application of the Invocation of Nehek will heal them right back up, so as long as they don't reach their healing cap. Out here, we're in a little bit of a range shootout as the gutter runners are obliterated by our brigands, who have retreated to the forested area and are firing from out of it. To pretty decent effectiveness, I'd wager. Alright, otherwise, Throt the Unclean has fallen once again, or escaped, but I'm pretty sure I saw Lord dead, I just didn't know which one it was. Packmaster's running, though. I'm going to activate a Pit of Shades with Mallobaude there, especially since the Nemesis Crown also gives a reduction to casting, so why not use it? Here, a Hell Pit Abomination, the next target for Mallobaude. And while this is a lot of effects happening at once, it's still looking pretty great in my opinion. And we got a Warpquake and Seismic Snare coming down as usual. But the Abomination won't survive. And it's time for the Nemesis Crown to be set loose upon the enemy. Frankly, this thing doesn't seem to do a crazy amount of damage, but it does look really cool, so we're gonna use it at every opportunity just because of that. Otherwise, the enemy army is in disarray. The bounce power shift to about 70% in our favor, and while there are a couple of rattling guns and a couple of Plague Claw catapults still providing support, it admittedly won't be all that threatening for too much longer. There is, however, a unit of Plague Monk Sensor Bearers which have been kicking a few of our units of brigands and have proved themselves to be rather dangerous, but they won't be dangerous for too long as the Black Grail Knights move in to save those peasants. Alrighty, and with that, it looks like yet again Throt the Unclean's armies will shatter, and the battle will once again go to us. This time, they're not in march stance, and we are going to give chase to as many of the units as possible, especially things like the Warplog Giselles and Rattling Guns, which we do want to take out so that they aren't encountered again. Lovely. Lovely, lovely work, and as usual, tons of damage out of Mallobaude. Alright, there we go, a heroic victory, and most definitely a tough fight for us there. Certainly tougher than the first time we took on Throt the Unclean, but yeah, he had a lot of elites and a lot of fun stuff for Mallobaude to be engaged with. 67,000 damage on him. We've got 31,000 damage on Nachtjäger, who considerably outdid both of the other units of the Black Grail Knights. As for the Monty's Pythons, taking the lead for the units of brigands there. And by the looks of it, the I'm being repressed were slightly better than the other as well, with the exception of the Cantankerous Bellends, but we're used to that one. Anyway, I'd love to heal these guys, but they barely get any healing from this, which is a bit of a shame, but what can you do? So I guess we'll just return those captives. Now, the Nemesis Crown does, in theory, give us the ability to recover some of our movement range, so can we still reach these guys? Yes, we can. Alright. And Banner of Swiftness. I mean, I guess we could make Mallobaude faster. Is there anything that we want to lose in his army, though? Lichbone Pennant? Definitely not. Corpse Thief? Probably not. Banner of Eternal Flame, in theory, would be something that we might want to swap out eventually, but perhaps not right now. Anyway, I think that this stuff I will fight manually between the episodes, because I'm willing to bet that if we attack them directly, the men-at-arms of polearms here will die, and obviously we don't want that, so and just to make sure that that is dealt with, I'll deal with that between the episodes, and thusly I'm calling this particular episode here. Next time, we continue fighting in order to claim the Empire for Mallobaude, but have to keep an eye on all of this stuff and the extreme likelihood of all of these guys attacking us and, well, everyone everywhere attacking us, basically. That's Nemesis Crown and Sword of Cain for you. Just gotta be prepared for it. Who needs endgame scenarios when you can make the entire world your endgame scenario? Anyway, stay tuned for more. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. They will determine the engagement will determine how long this campaign continues to run for and all of that sort of stuff, and episode length and scheduling, blah, 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 blah. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.